Yo, Too Shifty Crew. What is good with y'all today? It's your boy Bwithdashifts. Today we got how to win a fight against every deadly animal. Shout out, trust me, bro. I don't know if I trust him or not. Let's see.
The deadliest
Go follow
animal
my
attacks.
twitch.tv
You
slash
and your best bro
Bwithdashifts1.
are sitting on the couch watching TV. It almost seemed like this day could not get any more boring. And just as you were starting to get into the show on the television, it cuts to a commercial break. It was actually a commercial for a brand new experimental zoo that had just opened in your city. And as soon as you and your bro heard zoo and brand new, both of your ears perked up. One of the most interesting things that it was advertising was a safety course on how to survive the most common and deadly animal attacks. Now, since at this point you and your bro had already survived countless deadly locations, as well as numerous deadly survival myths, you figured why not take the opportunity to now also learn about how to survive deadly animal
who takes
attacks.
the time to
And
animate
without any
that,
further convincing required,
Like,
you and your bro
what?
quickly change into your explorer outfits and you head to the zoo. As you
That's
and your
more
friend
than
arrive, you
strange,
notice
but it's
something
fine.
peculiar. The parking lot is absolutely empty, and the zoo itself is massive. And it honestly doesn't even look like a zoo. It looks more like a prison, with walls that go endlessly into the horizon. And as you walked into the zoo and met the coordinator, you were informed that the TV ad was a bit misleading, that it actually wasn't a safety course, it was more of a crash course. However, there was a cash prize to be won if the crash course was completed successfully. And since you and your bro were not only bored, but broke, you figured, what did you have to lose? And with that, the coordinator led you to two massive steel doors. You and your friend walk in, and the doors slammed behind you. As you and your bro look ahead of you, you realize that this zoo is nothing like any zoo you've ever seen. There was no cages or doors or trails. It was literally just wilderness directly in front of you. Besides one table that had one pamphlet on it. And as you pick up this pamphlet, you see that it reads Animal Survival Guide. And as you begin to read it, you hear a voice over a PA system. That voice was the coordinator. And the coordinator tells you if you want to make it out of this challenge alive, you need to follow the rules in this pamphlet to a T. And they also inform you that every animal you encounter is going to be getting bigger in size as you get deeper into the enclosure. At this point, you and your bro know that you have bitten off way more than you could chew, and this was definitely not what you signed up for. But at this point, you had no other option. So you begin to walk into the wooded area. As you and your bro become fully immersed in the woods, you realize that while the circumstances may be a bit peculiar, you're in a rather beautiful location. The leaves are green, the trees are healthy, the grass is green, the flowers are plentiful, and you even notice that there is beehives and bees flying around. And while your bro decides to walk up to the flowers and approach the bees, you open the pamphlet and realize the first animal attack you have to survive is actually bees. The smallest creature in this entire zoo.
You just
and
run
as you
away
read
from
through
it.
the pamphlet, you see that the first thing it emphasizes is that with bee attacks, prevention is key. Meaning that if you want to survive, or at least in this case, avoid a bee attack, the best way to do so is to be calm, slow, and gentle. And on top of that, avoid bright colors and strong perfumes. The pamphlet then goes on to state that bees typically are non-aggressive to people unless they feel threatened or are stepped on or the privacy of their nest is being encroached on. And while you are now armed...
Wait, why don't they sting honey bears then? I just realized that. Honey bears are literally the ones that invade the bees' privacy. Why do they not come out of those beehives with stings everywhere? Are they not man enough to sting a bear? They got penises that give out, like, STDs. You know what I mean. Like, stingers are literally infected dicks. If you know, you know. But, bro, are they not man enough to do that, though? Like, what?
With this information, you look up at your friend and are shocked. Your friend, in the bright blue jacket, wearing Axe body spray, is not only actively swatting at bees that are getting too close to him, but he is also trying to get a close look at the beehive. And it's this combination of moves that end up with him being attacked. And almost cartoonishly, you watch him run back and forth with his arms flailing until he runs so far ahead of you that you can't see him anymore. You wait for his screams to stop, you maneuver slowly around the bees, you respect their space, and seemingly magically, you're able to make it to the next area completely unscathed. However, as you meet up with your friend, you can't say the same for him, and his face looks like mine did in high school. Although fortunately, your friend is not allergic to bees. And while he's in pain, you and your friend are able to safely remove the stingers with a credit card, and you continue on your way, satisfied that you had just survived your first animal attack. One that may seem tame, although when you realize that the attacks are only going to get more dangerous from here on out, and the fact that if you did have a bee allergy, that encounter would be deadly, you realize that maybe this isn't so much of a...
I would just run off from
As
the
you and
bees.
your
I'm not
bro
gonna lie.
exit the
I am
forest and
scared of
enter a
bees a little
clearing,
bit.
you notice
but
something peculiar.
it is
It's a
what it
glass
is.
of water on a wooden stool in front of a small pond. At this point, your bro is already over the entire ordeal and just wants to get out and get his prize. And for that reason, he picks up the glass of water, pours it on his head to cool himself off, and begins to trek his way through that pond. But almost instantly, you realize that that wasn't a normal glass of water, and this wasn't a normal pond. Because sitting on top of your bro's head was a small and nearly transparent creature known as the box jellyfish. And it was actually
Why
a
is it
warning
sitting on
of
his
what
head? It looks
existed
like a
in
mop.
the pond. Generally, most jellyfish are completely harmless. However, there are a few species that are very harmful, one of those specific species being the box jellyfish. Now, while you could argue that box jellyfish don't necessarily attack you, I would argue that they don't need to, because even just passively brushing against their tentacles could leave you in excruciating pain and potentially in the grave. Box jellyfish are particularly dangerous because they are so hard to see. As you and your bro did, or I guess didn't see in the glass of water, box jellyfish are almost transparent. And typically, you feel their tentacles burning your skin before you actually see the jellyfish itself.
Why can't humans like me have superpowers like that? Fuck all y'all other humans, but give me superpowers like that. I want to be transparent. So if I don't like somebody, I can just go up and like sting them and they can't see a thing. Like, bro, that's an amazing superpower. This is unfair. I would rather be a jellyfish. Yo, and you get to swim in the water all the time? I can't even swim. Like, bro, this thing gets to swim forever and it gets to attack people who don't like? Yes. Bro, how is this thing not the most dangerous thing ever? It has superpowers.
Making encounters with them not uncommon and not pleasant whatsoever. Now, similar to bees, the best way to avoid a jellyfish attack would be avoidance. But since that's literally the case for any animal, I'm gonna stop saying that. Although, it is true. As you open up the pamphlet to learn about the box jellyfish, you read that the symptoms of coming in contact with a box jellyfish range from either mild skin irritation to severe pain, nausea, and cardiac complications, and the complexity and severity of your symptoms really depend on the amount of venom you become exposed to. Now, armed with this information, you look up from the pamphlet and see that your bro is already halfway through the pond, neck deep in this water. And because of this, you ask him, hey, do you feel like you're touching anything in the water? And he replies, yeah, I do, actually. It feels like there's invisible marshmallows, but I can't feel anything. That is, until moments later when you hear your friend begin to scream in agonizing pain. You watch him run out of the pond, and standing on the other side, you see him covered from the neck down with long stripes of inflamed skin. Areas that got in contact with these jellyfish. And there's still even remnants of jellyfish tentacles sitting on his skin, furthering the exposure and worsening the pain. Knowing that you too have to walk through this pond, you desperately look around for anything that could potentially help you. And it's at that point when you once again consult the pamphlet and read that one of the best ways to avoid stings is to wear a sting suit, or even a traditional wetsuit. And while you don't have access to a wetsuit, you do your very best to insulate the clothes you're wearing. You tuck your pants into your socks, your shirt into your pants, and you put your hands deeply in your pocket. And once you've become as insulated as possible, you try to quickly make your way around the edge of the pond, only going about waist deep in the water and thankfully avoiding a jellyfish attack. Although now that your friend is really looking worse for wear, you once again consult the book about potential remedies for jellyfish attacks. And while your friend is already mentally preparing for a golden shower, you inform him that the book says that fresh water and urine are actually not helpful for jellyfish stings, and they in most cases make it worse. And what you really want to use to neutralize the venom and end the pain is vinegar. Unfortunately, sitting right beside your friend was a large jug of white vinegar. And as he begins to pour it all over your bro, he instantly begins to feel better. And after the vinegar has been used up, you take your handkerchief out of your pocket, you begin to wipe off the tentacles that are still on his body. In this case, your friend was lucky enough to not require medical attention. However, in severe cases of box jellyfish stings, or where a large group of stings happen, it is advised you seek medical attention immediately, as in those cases you may require anti-venom to survive. Okay, this is off topic, but do you smell that? It smells like you didn't shower. And if that's the case, I feel bad for your anime body pillow. But in case you did, you're obviously not using the right stuff, which is why this video is sponsored. to see what it could be. And as you approach it, the
Man
stick
thinks
turns out
he's
to be
slick,
not
yo.
a stick at all. And it's actually a king cobra, the longest venomous snake in the entire world.
Run away
It's
from
also
it,
a
dude.
snake that carries a powerful neurotoxin that can seriously mess you up. Instinctually, you and your bro take a few steps back and you instantly consult the pamphlet. And it begins by telling you exactly how deadly and dangerous a king cobra is, and then it tells you what you should do if you encounter it. The first step it recommends is remaining absolutely dead calm. Sudden movements are the perfect way to make the cobra feel threatened and provoke an attack, something you don't want to happen. That means you cannot just run away, and you cannot try to strike it yourself.
What?
Since you're already in close
Shoot it.
proximity to the king cobra and have pissed it off by encroaching on its personal space, it may seem helpful to try to kick it to just, get it out of your way and to scare it off. But realistically, a king cobra can bite much faster than you can kick, and extending your leg towards it is only going to result in a bite that could take your life. And what the pamphlet actually recommends is to do nothing of the sort.
Shoot it! That's what you do. You shoot it. Yes, I don't care. Any animal that tries to kill me or tries to fight me, bro, I'm shooting it. If I feel in danger, I'm shooting it. I don't care, man. I don't care what animal it is. You're getting pew-pewed. I do not have a care in the world. A king cobra tries to strike me. I'm shooting it. I don't care. I find it crazy that you can't shoot some animals even if they're attacking you. Like, what?
Now that you and your bro have already separated yourselves from the snake, it's important to analyze how the snake is feeling. And with the king cobra specifically, if their hood is spread out and their body is off the ground and they are hissing loudly, that means they are peak mad. And your best bet is to create as much space as possible. If this situation was to happen in a real-world scenario, your best bet would be to retrace your steps and leave. But in this case, with you and your bro having to move forward, you have to get creative. And what you and your bro decide to do is to quickly separate and begin moving in opposite directions, almost moving in a circle around the snake. That way, you and your bro could each keep an optimal distance from the king cobra and also mitigate your chances of being bit, because realistically, the cobra can only go after one of you if it decides to strike. And fortunately, even though you and your bro accidentally made this king cobra extremely upset, you were able to pass by it successfully by remaining calm, moving slowly, and keeping your distance. And for that reason, preventing a true attack. Now, if you and your bro weren't so lucky and happened to be bit by the cobra, as the pamphlet states, the best course of action is to still remain calm, but begin taking immediate measures. And what it recommends is immobilizing the limb that was bit and keeping it at or below your heart level. Beyond just that, the pamphlet also recommends removing any tight clothing or jewelry, as your body will begin to swell, and it also recommends against cutting the wound or sucking out venom, as that has not been shown to be an effective preventative measure. Once you've immobilized your limb and removed tight clothing and are trying your best to remain calm, the final thing you must do is seek medical attention, because the neurotoxin in king cobra venom causes paralysis, and if left untreated, can paralyze your lungs, causing you to die. However, fortunately, in this case, your friend did not have a near-death experience, although you're far from out of the woods. As you and your bro stumble into the next clearing, you notice that there's no bees, no jellyfish, no venomous sticks in the grass, but you do see a small, gray, fuzzy thing. It's just sitting there in the grass, and you and your bro can't make out what it is. And at this point, knowing better than just to run up to it, you and your bro decide to yell at it to try to get its attention, because it's obviously something. And after a few shouts, you notice that this ball is moving, and it turns its head to look at you, and what you see is the most adorable puppy you've ever seen. This puppy is all sad and alone and is shaking and crying. Only moments after seeing the innocent face of this puppy, you couldn't help yourself but to go and comfort it. And as you approach this puppy and pick it up, it begins to lick you and love you, and it honestly looks like it's much happier. And for the first time so far in the zoo, you guys are actually enjoying yourselves and feel like you're catching a break. Although your precious puppy time is quickly cut short when you hear a familiar noise in the distance. It's not the bark of a dog, but the howl of a wolf. And you quickly realize that this is a wolf pup, and the pack was about to return sooner rather than later. But before you can even put the puppy down and head on your way,
leave
you
your scent somewhere and run.
And judging by the visible ribs on their sides, they had just come back from an unsuccessful hunt. Now, in most cases, wolf attacks are extremely rare, for humans that is. Although, because you are in the wolf's territory, currently engaging with a wolf pup, the pack has no choice but to challenge you and protect their young. As you put the pup down and begin to retrace your steps, the wolves begin to close in on you, and you quickly refer to the pamphlet. And the first thing the pamphlet says is do not run if you encounter wild wolves. Running will only trigger their chase instinct and will trigger a single wolf or an entire wolf pack to chase you down and
lock in with deals on all your game days.
Nobody cares about this ad though. I'm not going. Nobody cares about this at all. I'm sorry. Yo, bro, my ear, like, I can't hear out of my right ear really at all. Like, I don't know why. My ear just keeps on closing up. I don't know. That's so annoying, I feel like. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Till the end.
We're good now.
Instead, what you should do if you are in a situation where there's a wolf angry at you is to stand tall and make yourself appear as large as possible. And you do exactly that. You take off your backpacks, put them above your head, and begin shouting the most aggressive nonsense you can conjure. And quickly, with your arms in the air and your dominance being asserted, the wolves don't back off, but they do pause in their approach towards you. Consulting the book once again as you are making progress, you read that the next step is to slowly back away while keeping your eyes on.
Wait, what happens if a midget meets a pack of wolves? They cannot utilize that #1 tactic. They're just a Big Mac. I'm not gonna lie. Hey. Those wolves are getting their food that night, baby. Hey, those wolves already look crazy enough. They look drunk, but I mean, yo, a midget tries to do that tactic, yeah, they're cooked.
The animal and maintaining your confident posture. If you turn your back to the animal or begin to crouch or slouch, this may signal weakness, once again triggering an attack. As you and your bro are standing confidently, you notice the wolf pack begin to no longer circle you and congregate around the pup in front of you, meaning that you're no longer surrounded, but you still have a pack to go through if you want to complete the challenge. And it's because of this that you continue to read the pamphlet, and it informs you that if you are not able to safely back away from wolves, your next best bet is to throw things at it. Sticks, rocks, or even your backpacks are great ways to deter escalation. And in this case, your bro throws his backpack directly at the pack, missing the wolves but startling them enough to begin backing away themselves. As you've learned from the pamphlet, wolves tend to avoid people and do not see humans as prey, and these wolves do not want to attack you. And now that they've been able to gather their pup and congregate, they are much more likely to leave than attack. And that is exactly what's happening after your bro threw his backpack. And as the wolves begin to head on their way, you throw your backpack as well, and you and your bro continue to stand strong until they are completely out of sight. And it's at that point when you collect your bags and continue walking, heading back into the woods and making your way to the next clearing, you and your bro are beginning to feel confident because you're consistently learning and successfully avoiding, or at least surviving, animal attacks. Although little did you and your bro know that the attacks to come would be far beyond just humbling. As you make your way into the next clearing, you notice that this clearing's, for once, empty. There's no sticks, there's no fuzzball, there's no bees, there's literally nothing. But upon a closer inspection, there is a pile of dirt basically right in front of you. This pile of dirt is covered in flies and honestly smells pretty gross. And while your bro thinks this might be an anthill and that the next animal attack is fire ants, you realize that what you're looking at is not an anthill. It's a pile of animal feces. And you notice beside it are prints that are large and look like paws. And putting 2 and 2 together, you realize that these feces came from a predator, and the predator is not far at all. As you crouch down to get a better look at the paw prints in the soil, your bro is quickly attacked by a mountain lion. And now the clock is ticking before your friend becomes dinner for this animal. As your friend is face down in the dirt and the mountain lion is biting into its backpack, you quickly consult the pamphlet. And the pamphlet informs you that mountain lions are stealth hunters, which is why it jumped out of the bushes to attack your friend, although they typically don't attack humans. However, in this case, the mountain lion must have thought your friend was a deer. And mountain lions are rather unique in their attack style, because not many predators try to ambush their prey like mountain lions, making them extra dangerous if you happen to get mistaken for something they're actually looking for. Regardless, time is of the essence, and right now, preventative measures or looking big is simply not an option. It is life or death for your bro, and you quickly begin shouting life-saving advice at him from the pamphlet. The first recommendation is to fight back aggressively and immediately. And instantly, your bro flips over and begins trying to drive a wedge between himself and the mountain lion via his legs. And the next thing you shout now that he is more vulnerable is to protect your head and neck and chest. These are some of the most vulnerable areas on your body that one slash from a mountain lion could easily kill you. And for that reason, you try to keep your legs near your chest and you cover your face and neck with your forearm and elbows. And now, you inform him that when the opportunity arises, strike the sensitive areas of the mountain lion, specifically the eyes and nose. And he begins to bash the nose of the mountain lion with his elbow, and as the mountain lion becomes stunned by its prey fighting back, he quickly mashes his fist on the eye of the mountain lion. As you continue to read, you see that it's crucial to fight back as aggressively as possible and to not play dead, because similar to running, playing dead will only trigger an attack response from these animals. And your best chance of surviving an attack is to resist as much as possible to prove to the animal that you are simply not worth fighting. And in the case of your bro, that is exactly what happens. The mountain lion begins to quickly back away. He gets on his knees and then on his feet, and once again, you two both assume a confident, tall stance, causing the predator to back away into the bushes that it only recently jumped out of. Recouping with your bro, you guys are both, at this point, questioning your decision, but also understanding that there is truly no heading back at this point. You quickly check your friend to make sure he's not bleeding from anywhere vital, and you continue back into the woods. You notice the ground getting marshier and the trees getting more droopy, and you realize you're heading out of the woods and into the swamp. And while you didn't expect Shrek to be one of the predators on this list, at this point, anything is possible. Although this time, it's different than before. The water is murky. There's vegetation both on the shoreline and in the water. And while you know you need to cross this body of water, you still don't know what lies within it. That is, until two eyes pop out of the water. And while your friend still isn't convinced it's not Shrek, you know exactly what you're looking at. It's an alligator. Alligators are no doubt terrifying, but they're also so interesting because they are literally like living dinosaurs. But on this particular day, you don't feel like getting up close and personal with a relic from the dinosaur era. As you consult the pamphlet, the first thing you see is that it's recommended that if you encounter an alligator to maintain a safe distance. And it's recommended to have at least a 20 or 30 foot gap between yourself and the alligator. And while you know you're already much closer than that and have to get closer in order to pass it, you continue reading to see if there's any additional information to survive the unlikely but possible attack. One thing you know in the pamphlet is that alligator attacks on humans are rare. Although in your case, you're getting attacked by every animal, so that doesn't mean much to you. And in the cases of alligator versus human brawls, alligators typically attack because they either felt threatened or had their nest encroached upon, or they even potentially mistook a person for prey. And while you understand that you could basically fall into any of those categories, you don't feel super confident about crossing this body of water. Your bro, with the worst luck in the world and apparently a death wish, interrupts your reading and tells you an alligator can't bite what it can't catch. And he sprints
you're not
through the
running
body
from
of
an
water,
alligator,
hoping to
dude.
get through as quickly as possible. Although, unfortunately for him, he literally ran directly into the jaws of the alligator. And now, you're once again yelling life-saving advice to him. One of the first things you read, once again, is that if you get into a situation with an alligator, it's best to fight back immediately. Not by trying to pry its jaws open, because you have no chance at doing that, but by, once again, targeting sensitive areas. Alligator's primary method of attack is using a powerful bite to subdue prey. So if you can strike its eyes or nose to try to have it loosen its grip, you can ideally get out of its jaws and run fast away. And that's exactly what your bro does. He begins plunging his thumbs into the eyes of the alligator, causing the alligator to open its mouth only slightly, allowing your bro to roll out of the mouth of the alligator, swim across the body of water, and run like hell away from it. And as you read the pamphlet, you see that running away from alligators is highly recommended. And it's even stated that while alligators are fast in short bursts on land, they cannot outrun humans over longer distances. Meaning that there's no need to run in a zigzag pattern, and you can run as fast as you can, as far as you can, away in a straight line. Now, as you continue to read, you see that even if you survive an alligator attack, you're not in the clear just yet. Because if one of the teeth penetrates your skin, the bacteria in the alligator's mouth could cause a nasty infection. Although, fortunately for your bro, the bites didn't penetrate through the backpack or the jacket he was wearing. meaning that he was bruised up, but alive. And after your bros scuffle with the alligator, the scaly guy decided to kick rocks and swim down the stream, leaving the body of water safe for you to cross, allowing you to once again reunite with your unlucky buddy. As you both begin to catch your breath before you head into the next section of the arena, you hear a buzzing over the PA, and then you hear the voice of the coordinator. And the coordinator says that you and your bro are doing well, and that there are only 2 challenges left before you get the large prize. That is, if you survive. But that isn't the only thing the coordinator says. The coordinator also says to you directly watching at home, if you are enjoying this video about how to survive different animal attacks.
Oh my goodness. Let me just...
9.
Yep, no, I was not trying to listen to that guy's promo. Oh. My nose is so snotty, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Anywhere
We're
near
good.
the
There
tiger,
you go.
you understand why there
There's
is
a
an
tiger
old
now,
tiger
okay.
specifically in this zoo. As you
Wow.
read, you are informed that tigers typically hunt alone and usually target medium to large sized prey, such as wild boar, deer, and
Whoa.
other animals. And human attacks for tigers
Dang,
aren't as
okay.
uncommon as other animals we've
Wow.
discussed. And the most common instances where
Dumbass
tigers
tiger.
attack humans are when a tiger is old, injured, or feels threatened. And these sorts of attacks are even more common in areas where both humans and tigers live in close proximity, such as rural villages and areas like that. Now knowing why there is an elderly tiger in front of you, you take pity on your bro, hand him the pamphlet, and tell him that you're gonna take one for the team, and all you ask him to do is read you the survival tactics. Fortunately, you remember exactly how to survive a mountain lion attack. And assuming a tiger is similar, you plan on using the same moves. And to save time, you don't only approach the tiger, you also begin to just lay on the ground in a defensive position, almost to call it on to you. And as the tiger begins to approach you and then poke you with its nose, you begin waiting for your
Man, look at that precious little kitty, man. I'm sitting there petting it. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm just not taking one for the team. I'm sending my friend out there. I'm holding the book, telling him what to do. I'm sacrificing him. Yeah, I'm saving myself. I don't care. Call me a fake friend, but that's some real shit right there. I'm gonna give him a life lesson, character building experience. But man, pet the tiger, man. That thing is so sweet. That thing is sweeter than grandma's cookies, man.
friend to give you the next steps. But as you glance over at your friend as you are covering your head, you see that he is standing there cluelessly picking his nose, and you realize
Ew.
you're left to your own devices. Without having any professional advice,
Okay.
you decide to go with Old Reliable.
Wow.
And as this tiger begins to mount you and open up its mouth to show off its massive teeth, you kick Terry the tiger right in the tiger testicles and make this
Oh,
elderly tiger
dang.
scream in pain and
Okay.
run away crying like a
Wow.
little kitten. Obviously, that's no real
Okay.
survival strategy, but in a
Wow.
pinch, it just
Okay.
happened to work. And as you backtrack to your friend, you rip the pamphlet out of his hand, smack him over the head with it, and continue on to
I'm
the final
sacrificing him as
portion
food,
of
so I'm
this
safe.
crazy zoo's survival
Yeah,
challenge.
okay.
Heading out of the woods once and for all, you're
Oh,
met
they
with the
gotta
beach
go to
and the
water,
biggest
okay.
body of water you've encountered so
Wow.
far. At this point,
The
you're curious
ocean.
how all of this has even fit in this zoo, but you're honestly too over it to even ask.
Dang.
Luckily, this body of water is not something you have to swim through, because there is an
I
albeit
actually like
rickety
this
bridge
guy's
going
videos,
directly
so I'm
across
not
it.
gonna lie.
And while
I
it's
do.
so long you can't see the other end of it, due to the fog that is over the water, you and your bro assume that this bridge is actually what's going to take you out, because there's no animals that live on bridges. And it's for this reason that you and your bro are sprinting down this bridge to just be done with the zoo.
Dang,
Grateful
okay.
that you're actually alive. However, as you're sprinting on this bridge through the fog
Mm.
clears and you notice a massive gap in the bridge directly in front of you. But unfortunately, it's too late to stop, and
okay.
you and your bro are both dropped into the water.
Idiots.
Luckily, it's only a short
Idiots.
gap between the end of the bridge
Okay.
and the beginning of the second part of it. But during your time in this water,
Idiots.
you understand
Okay.
why this bridge is here, and you have just met the final predator in this
Great
video.
white shark,
Because
yep.
your friend is so bruised and
Yep, a
banged up,
shark,
you
man.
quickly notice that the
Wow.
blood from his clothes are seeping into the water. And this blood in the
Yep,
water is
sacrifice 'em.
attracting nearby sharks.
Sacrifice
and
him,
before you know
man.
it, you have two great white sharks circling you and your bro. Now, like most people know at this point, great white sharks are not trying to hunt humans particularly, although they are curious and will give a test bite to unfamiliar things, and will give more than a test bite to things they deem to be prey.
okay.
And while these sharks don't see you and your bro as food, they don't know what to make of you and decide to learn a bit more. And as one of the sharks begins to approach your bro, you quickly begin reading on what
Don't begin reading. Take off swimming. Leave him behind. Yeah. Yeah, let him be that test. Let him be the test dummy. Let him be their breakfast, lunch, maybe a early dinner, maybe some brunch. I don't know. Just let the homeboy go. I'm not gonna lie. It's his time to go. He's setting y'all up with the blood anyway. It's his time to go, man. Do him a favor. That's a real friend right there if you leave him. Hey, that's what I would do.
He should do. As the shark approaches your friend and he gets more and more terrified, you tell him, hey, the pamphlet says to stay calm, maintain eye contact, and avoid splashing. You cannot
I would just tell him, hey, go ahead and pray. Your time's up.
outswim a great white shark, and it's not even worth trying. What you should do instead is keep yourself vertical and slowly back away. And while your friend seems receptive to this information, panic got the best of him. And as the shark swam by his leg, he kicked the shark in the nose, instantly angering it, causing the great white to circle back around in preparation for a bite. Seeing what's inevitably going to happen, you continue to read and see that the book states that if you are bitten, you need to defend yourself immediately, aiming specifically for the eyes, gills, or snout. Ideally with any object you have, or in the worst case, your fists. Even a small bite from a great white shark can be deadly, meaning that you have absolutely no margin for error. Feeling unconfident that your friend's going to be able to protect himself in this situation, you decide to do something rash. As the shark swim past you, while being focused on your friend, you decide to throw your backpack at the shark, giving it something to focus on. And as the shark bites on your backpack, you dive your fist deep into its gills, hoping to prove that you and your friend are not worth messing with. Unfortunately, it works, and the two sharks swim away. But
So
now
you just punch
have
it in
no
the
backpack.
gills? Okay.
But a backpack is a small price to pay for your life. You and your bro quickly swim to the other side of the bridge and continue to walk until the bridge leads to the shore, and on the shore you see a building and a wall, similar to the wall that you approached on your way in, and two metal doors once again. You approach these doors and they instantly open for you, and you are met with a bright, shining light. This is what you've been waiting for. This is the room with the prize. This is everything you've wanted. And as you walk through the metal doors and walk into this very, very overwhelmingly bright room, you are met with the zoo's gift shop. And the coordinator you met previously hands both you and your bro 2 t-shirt vouchers to get a free t-shirt that says, I went to the worst zoo ever, and all I got was this t-shirt. Not wanting to go home empty-handed, you and your bro collect your shirts and head home.